Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful empowered harmonizers. We're zooming in and focusing in on a very important topic, and that is how to understand how judgment is used as manipulation. Many of our viewers have been through some very harsh and difficult relationship dynamics, particularly those people who have a penchant and a tenacity for manipulating and controlling others, particularly using guilt, shame, abandonment, rejection, and judgment in order to get them to bend to their will. So you've got your will, you've got your life, you've got your heart, you've got your calling. You're, generally driven by that heart energy. And then the mind, the logic aspect tries to make it work, getting it so that you're just not into, your wish will then become manifest in a reality once you plug into some strategy and plan and utilizing the mind and heart together. Now, when we talk about judgment, it's really going right at the source. It's going for that heart jugular, if you will. And your emotional center, which is your limbic brain, your energy and motion, then will really, in a split second, basically fuel that and launch that emotion and have that rise up in the body. And it's often expressed as sadness, embarrassment, shame, and then translated into wanting to hide. Judgment is something that says you are not good enough. You are not good enough for me, and me, being the person who's trying to control and manipulate, try to be as like the eyes of the world. And then their eyes become your eyes. So it becomes like this real flip where people then who are manipulated and shaped by these types, hitherto them kind of being aware of this dynamic, or what I want to help you to understand is an energy flow, they're overwhelmed and engulfed by this energy of judgment. And so they release that heart, which houses hope, joy, bliss, the sublime, gives your fuel to your mind for the ability to dream and plan for the future. It sort of bottoms that out. It just doesn't, the bottom can get more and more lower and lower and lower. Basically, it can keep sinking, and then people try to work their way out of it, particularly through people pleasing others in order to satisfy that judgment and appear according to their needs. So when we talk about someone who's controlling or manipulating, or really that power source, it's the manipulation so you can satisfy their needs. It has nothing to do with you. Their anger and their judgment has nothing to do with you. You might be the receiver. You might have like the tuning fork that's picking up their vibes, it's picking up their energetic vibration, that's picking up their energy. It's not yours. And it might feel as if it's directed at you because you are the receiver. Imagine kind of like a ripple on water, and then if you're to put a stick in it, then the ripple would split. So you're the receiver. The ripple though has nothing to do with you. You're just in that, what I call the proximity. You're just in the environment. You are in the milieu with this person. And so if this is a family member, then you're going to be repeatedly exposed to these sort of negative messages or negative energy, which is at a very low vibration. And particularly, it's going to cause people to want to sort of shriek away, isolate, run away, like literally run, leave the town, leave the house, stay in someone's bunker, or do whatever you have to do to flee, because the pressure of judgment can become so severe and so demanding that people can't rub two brain cells together. They can't rub two heart cells together. They can't see their life moving forward. All they are existing in is pain. And that is a very, very difficult place to be. But if you can separate yourself for a moment and understand that all that judgment and agitation it belongs to that person. It does not belong to you. Just because you heard it, you've seen it, you've talked about it with them, you got caught up in the back and forth, discussing things. Maybe it was about how you dressed or your lifestyle or your music or whatever, your friends, your career path, how tall you are, whatever, is subject to their judgment. You're not a musician. You're not a computer programmer. You're not a doctor. You're not. It's the you're not. It's the, and then you become defined around the negative. You then have negative. You then exist through what psychologists will call negative validation, which means rather than defining yourself by the positive and your strengths, you're then caught up in then defining yourself by the negatives and what you're not. So it creates this big gap to try to measure up to this person's measuring stick. It's like they're always there with this measuring stick. You wear nice shoes. Why are you wearing those nice shoes? You wear a nice dress. You wear a nice suit. You're doing some work. You're having this to eat. You're relaxing. Why are you relaxing? I mean, everything and anything under the sun can be subject to judgment. You're the only one here who doesn't have ABC. You're the only one here, whose family doesn't do this, or and then you feel sort of singled out. So this is how really the narcissist or psychopath will create a pecking order where they really will exasperate, and generally they'll go for people so to help you to understand and stop owning someone else's problem. Stop housing someone else's anger. Stop allowing that into your body. Are they paying rent inside your body? Do they have a mortgage within you that you need to pay off and they need to live within you day in and day out? Don't own someone else's anger. Don't allow it to come in and take up residence. Don't make a place for their negativity. It's just going to eat you from the inside out. It's a very serious matter. I mean, but the problem is that it slowly, will erode and corrode people. So as we know, particularly about the psychopath, they really strive to break people down, get them exhausted, get them to the brink of, feeling futile. I can't handle this anymore. Going back and forth, entering in that boxing ring. You're trying to reduce that gap between what they're expecting and then who you are. Well, it's important, I've got news for you. Your spirit and divine intelligence is running the show. It's not all about the ego and me this and me that. Divine intelligence is running the show. The one who's created all the cells, all the cilia, all your DNA, the millions of years of evolution. Okay, so stop taking someone else's judgment so personally. Your life truly is by a divine order, and you were born to the right parents with the right family system. And oftentimes people think, well, woe is me, but yet these relationships are to serve a purpose to learn some lessons. So it's kind of like having the whole Encyclopedia Britannica. I mean, your family can teach you some very valuable lessons. So a lot of people say, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. Well, sometimes those people can be the ones to teach you what you need to learn and have that really functioning in your life. Functioning in your life, because oftentimes it's other people's judgment that is arising out of their issues then creates what we call dysfunctional systems, dysfunctional family system, dysfunctional relationships. It just ain't working. Something is broken, just like a car. The brakes don't work. There's a loud knock every time we turn the corner. The starter doesn't work. The ignition, it runs like a well-oiled machine, or it doesn't. So you need to realize that also these people are there to teach a lesson. And even if that lesson is to understand that some people have energy and you have energy and that you don't need to absorb their negativity and toxicity no matter where it's founded, that might be one of your lessons learned. So that's why I talk, it's very important that you get your notebook. I hearken back to this, and in the book that I'm writing, it's very important for you to have a section in your recovery journal that is lessons learned. Lessons learned. This is your personal treasure map to your happiness. Lessons learned. I don't need to please this person. That might really hurt your feelings, or it might bring tears to your eyes to realize some lessons. It might be very emotionally laden. I don't have to please this person. I have to turn within. I have to fill my cup first, and that is how it is supposed to be. And so it is. Namaste. You know, your connection between those two feelings might take a while to process, but it is not your job and your role to cater and please someone else who doesn't have their power over you in your best interest. That would then lead the life of self-sacrifice and becoming, the Mother Teresa, the, one who's, making a vow of poverty. I mean, for some people, they live by a vow of poverty. They want to get to know their divine creator. There's all sorts of commitments. Where in your life did you make a commitment that, a pledge that perhaps is not serving you? It's important to say, okay, let's retract that. No, I don't think so. I'm not going to, call back that negativity into my life, i.e. the hover, because you will get tested. You will get tested. You will get tested. 5 years later, 8 years later, 10 years later, 2 months later, you're going to get the text. And instead of saying, hi, how are you? It's, just normal, functional. It's going to be like something that's going to harken back to the negative. Do you have time today? It's going to be laden with this judgment. It's to manipulate and shape and mold you to their needs. So if you have been like a pile of clay in their hands, take back the pile of clay. You are the master sculptor. You are the one that gives shape, design, and perspective and vista to your life. You're the one who creates and goes to see the sunrise, the sunset, the rainbows, takes the pictures. You are the one who directs your feet in alignment with your heart to get there. But if you're stuck in that fight or flight, if you are stuck in that fight or flight, subjecting yourself to someone else's judgment, you're going to burn up your adrenals, your cortisol, you're not going to be able to sleep, you're going to worry, you're not going to know how to balance out your life, you're going to feel, just sort of enslaved, resentful, confused, but largely feeling guilty and that you can't live authentic, and you're just caught up in a pension of trying to sort it out. So realize then once again how judgment is used to manipulate and control you to shape them according to their needs, with disrespecting you though, in understanding through lack of emotional intelligence, through lack of empathy, through lack of sensibility, through lack of awareness, through extreme neediness, and their own insatiable need to control and manipulate others. Realize that you can put an end. You can put up a boundary. You can put up, a protective zone that does not accept and absorb it in, but is able to let it flow by. You have to, so either if it's called up in the mind or physiologically, let it yield and let it flow, as if you're just on a riverbank. Just let it go. Let that river go, but stay on land. Don't get into that element. It's a different element. So if you want to, dive into their river, then go ahead and walk right in it. If you don't, then step back, stay on that little precipice, that little riverbank, and just watch it flow by and observe it. You don't have to say, oh, what a little sparkle, what a wave, what a current. I mean, you can talk about it. In other words, reflect back to them, But it's important that you keep that self-respect in alignment and your own energy. And keep in your heart, meaning in your emotional center that drives you, which is connected to your gut and your intuition, realizing that that is trying to get you someplace and that you need to check in with that. And then release any sort of misunderstanding where you've been taught that you have to please this person. Yes, there's might be times of compromise, listening, processing, but it doesn't mean you have to give up what, your drive, your calling, your vision, your talents in order to please them and adhere to another's judgment. You really have to answer to yourself and know that within yourself that that is hurtful, this is abusive, that's neglectful, that's someone who is trying to control through judgment, and I'm not going to be controlled by that. It has no impact. And so shake it out, get your free will, begin to really tap into that awareness that that's their energy and so it is. That is their energy and so it is. And give it back to them. And I allow, the universe to take their energy and process it as it will. But as for me, I'm going to keep my space clear, free and clear. I am me and I am free, and that is to which I honor. And begin to repeat that again and again and again, and allow yourself then to shake off that fight or flight that is subject to that feeling of fear, anxiety, guilt, the fog, fear, obligation, and guilt that keeps things sort of cloudy, and you feel kind of lost, disoriented, out of the time zone. Begin to understand why that feeling is produced as a result from judgment. And begin to understand that oftentimes you can't really reason with the source of that judgment in a logical manner. It's just not going to work. They're going to have to process, it's their anger, their hostility, their neediness has nothing to do with you. Once again, it does not have anything to do with you. That is them. If they have a problem with their life and they're coming from a bad space, that is theirs. You don't have to rescue the drowning person, because oftentimes there's just more loss when we do that. So you have to also release that feeling of I'm having to rescue this person now, because you might have entertained that philosophy or that at some point where you feel that you needed to rescue them, help them, etc. Really look at that behavior and see how, if it brings you down or it helps bring you up. You need to stay on the path where you continue to be supported, elevated, and respected, and not subject to harsh judgment and the cruelty that can ensue oftentimes from the people who want to try to overwhelm and subject you to this, to get you to bend to their needs and to feel less than. They're usually, because if things are going great in your life, things are going your way, they're threatened by your growth, they're threatened by your independence, your autonomy, your beauty, your talents. It could even just be your freedom. People get jealous over all sorts of things, especially people who have a penchant to control others and have power over others. They will use that force. So begin to let go of that force and just allow it to dissipate and allow it to dissolve, and ask the universe to please gently recycle it and take that back, and then do healing exercises for yourself, keeping yourself grounded, exercising your free will, being decisive, being deliberate, getting that sort of thought process that you protect within yourself, get that going again. I am me and I am free, and this is all right. This is accepted by the Creator. This is divine intelligence running through me, and this is what I have learned. And begin to confirm that and repeat that again and again, and release other people's anger. Don't take it on as your own. You're not helping them, and you're certainly not helping yourself or other people. It is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today, and I hope that these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support. Peace out. Have a beautiful day.